Oh, hello, my gays, my straights, my matriarchs, my few patriarchs. Welcome to another episode of the Millennial Matriarch Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Alexis, and I am joined by my lovely popcorn eating, pink headphone wearing. You look blonder today. I meant to mention that before we started recording. Lovely co-host ATD. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I am blonder.
You are blonder.
I had high hopes that today would go differently and that in between my 9 to 5 that I would sneak off for like a shower and a little blow dry or something because I went to Hot Pilates this morning, and that didn't happen. So you're not getting the full effect. But yes, I'm a little blonder, I'm a little shorter, I'm a little more volumized. I'm feeling a little better about said hair. As we know, we've had many issues. But, you got to like shower a few times and style it and like really see if you're feeling it. But today's not that day. So, but happy to be here.
Well, as someone who has been on these hair woe journeys with you, as are the listeners, I can't wait to stay updated on how your hair is going. In fact, I'm going to make the most awkward transition, but you have an intimate relationship with your hair because it's your hair. And today, do you know what we want to talk about? Intimacy. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for me, intimacy always feels like it's the elephant in the room in a relationship, whether that's, how often you're having sex, if you're not having sex, if you're connecting on a personal level, if you feel like you're not spending time together, if one of you is on vacation and one of you is in the home, where's the disconnect? So that is what we want to talk to you about today is intimacy. Why are we obsessed with it? What does it mean? And what are we all freaking doing? So, Ashlie, question for you. When you hear the word intimacy, what do you think of?
My mind immediately, like, first thing goes to sex. But but that's not the full picture for me. The fuller picture is not just physical with your partner or any partner, but also like emotional. I find that I often refer to intimacy as like connection of any kind with your partner.
Yeah,
So,
you're not wrong.
like, I always say G and I are very intimate in that we're always like holding hands, hugging, kissing, slapping each other's butts. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're like sucking and fucking all day long. What I'm talking about is like my version of intimacy is just that connection point that's constant. And it can be like emotional connection too, for sure. But that's kind of where my mind goes. It's like those little like touchy-feely moments.
Well, it's funny because you touched on like the different components of intimacy. So there's emotional intimacy, there's physical intimacy, there's intellectual intimacy, there's experiential or a shared intimacy, and then there's also spiritual intimacy. So what I'm hearing from you is that it sounds like you really appreciate like intellectual intimacy, which for those of you who don't know, intellectual intimacy is sharing ideas, thoughts, and engaging in stimulating conversation. Also emotional intimacy, which is, you are connected, you're sharing your deepest feelings, your vulnerabilities, you have trust there. But also what I'm going to call like cutesy intimacy, which is still physical touch, like, but it's not necessarily like you said, you're not sucking and fucking all day long. It's just hand holding, it's cuddling, it's like a little booty smack when you walk by each other in the kitchen.
Before reading all this, what was your take on it?
It's funny because I actually don't think about intimacy in terms of just strictly physical. Like I feel like intimacy is like, are our souls connected? Do I feel aligned with you? Do I feel comfortable with you? Do I feel connected with you? But it is really funny. And I know that, after doing some research, this is really common. for my husband, he's big on physical intimacy. Like, in order for him to feel connected, like, he gets his strongest sense of connection from me through physical intimacy, AKA sex. And I
Yeah.
always think that's so funny. Well, I guess not funny because obviously it makes sense. But like when he and I have talked about it, I'm like, listen, we hold hands all the time. We cuddle. We are
Right.
like,
We're intimate.
we talk about what keeps us, we're intimate. And
And
he'll
he's
be
like,
like, no, but not like that. And that's what really made me want to talk to you about this today, is because I was like, well, I wonder what it's like in her relationship. I wonder if, you know, I don't want to say Biggie and I have a disconnect on intimacy, but I think that when looking at the different components of intimacy, we have our priority factors are not aligned. What would you say for you and G?
I'd say we're pretty aligned, but we both wish we explored other areas of intimacy more. We like always have this conversation of like, I want to have sex all day, every day, but like, I just don't. So we're like, well, if you don't have a problem
I
with it
feel
and I
like
don't have a
that's
problem with it,
life.
is it really a problem? But like, we both agree, like, it's not necessarily that we want to be in like a non sexual relationship. Like, we're lovers, not roommates. But we're
Right.
it's weird. It's like we're very much like aligned on like the emotional intimacy, the intellectual, the cutesy as you call it. I would say even like the experiential, and I'm not saying all this to be like, oh my God, we're so perfect, because we are absolutely not. I think that where we both wish that we were more active is like the more like sexual intimacy. But we're both aligned in the way we are intimate constantly. So it's kind of like a weird like thing. What's hilarious though about intimacy is that when you start talking about something, I find like then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's top of mind. Now let's do it. It's like we'll like talk
Yes.
about sex and then all of a sudden we're having sex. It's like very, very like we're so simple minded us humans. Like it really doesn't take much.
Right.
But yeah, I would say we're pretty aligned in that. But I think for the health of our relationship, we know that we have to explore outside of that and like really like get to know each other in new deeper levels, because after a certain amount of years you sort of know so much about each other that you do have
Yeah.
to work a little bit to find like the nooks and crannies you haven't explored yet.
I totally feel that.
When you said like Biggie's his feeling of connectedness is in those like physical moments, I think, yeah, that's I'm not surprised, but I'm not surprised because I think that is majority of men. I listened
Yes.
to that Lady Gang podcast that you sent me about intimacy. I think it was called like wanting to fuck your husband or something like that.
How to want to fuck your husband.
Literally the title of the episode. Thank you, Lady Gang podcast. And they were talking about, they had an expert on, Vanessa
Vanessa
Morin,
Morin.
who talked about how, the studies show that is truly like the way that majority of men like feel that they're feeling the most connected to you in all those other aspects. Like they're feeling the most emotionally connected to you. They're feeling the most spiritually connected to you in those physical moments. So yes, is part of it like about like getting off? Sure. But for most men, it is also literally about like connecting with you. And that's where they feel the most connected. Women aren't necessarily like that. So there is that challenge, I think, too, but it's not surprising to hear that because that's apparently the majority.
Right. And I think it's so interesting because, like, I have had this conversation with my husband a lot because I'm somebody who I'm like, listen, I think physical intimacy is so important. Dude, I don't want anybody that's listening to this that's like, nobody should think that I don't think that. But I do also think that at times in a relationship, like that can ebb and flow. Like life happens, people get busy, people don't feel good in their bodies, people are stressed, people are taking care of kids, people like have things going on. So for me, it's like never been something that I've wanted to like rely on solely. So
Mhm.
I really look for emotional intimacy. Like I feel the most connected with my husband when we have like deep heart to hearts. And like
For
he
sure.
talks yeah, he talks to me about like his fears or what's going on in his life or just even being just like like I not just with my husband, in general, I love vulnerability. Like, I am the kind of person, like, I wanna know what keeps you up at night. I wanna know, like, I wanna strip back the layers. So
Yeah.
anytime I can have a conversation with him where I feel like I'm seeing, like, a vulnerable, maybe even more, like, softer side that, somebody that's not a romantic partner may see, like,
Right.
that yeah, right, like, that is something that I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god," like, I feel so connected to you because we just, like, you shared something so personal with me.
Right. It kind of all goes back to like that roommate example, right? Where it's like he's almost like, "Well, we're not roommates, we're lovers, like let's be physical." And you're like, "We're not roommates, we're lovers, let's get intimate, emotionally intimate. Like let's crack that baby open, things you wouldn't even tell your friends, but you would tell me." Like it's the same like goal here is that intimacy and connection, but it's you're thinking about it different ways and it's like, "Yeah, I'm not your friend, let's get into it." And he's like, "I'm not your friend, let's get into it."
Let's fuck.
Like
Yeah.
I don't
But
want to
it's
derail too much, but I don't think we've talked about this. What do you know what your love languages are? Like the way you like to receive love, and then do you know his?
Yes, mine are words of affirmation and physical touch, like, but I'm gonna go with the cutesy touch. Like, I love hand holding. I talk with my hands. Like, I'm always like kind of like touchy feely. His are quality time and physical touch. So, but it is funny because even though we both connect on like the physical touch, it's like different. It's
Different.
different levels of physical touch. And listen, obviously, after we have sex, like I definitely feel more connected to him,
Mhm,
and
mhm. I know.
and without
Ain't
getting,
that a
like, too
bitch?
graphic, I'm like, "Oh, well, yeah." Yeah, I'm like, like, yeah, obviously we're connected. We're literally connected. Like,
Yeah. It's that
there is such, like, an
goddamn oxytocin. Fuck her, you know? She's always messing with our minds. Another thing they said on that podcast, I don't know if it was that or if it was the Girls Gotta Eat podcast. I don't know. Somewhere in our listening research, shout out to both of those podcasts.
Yeah.
Um, they said someone said it might have been Vanessa said something about how a woman receives like a shit ton of oxytocin just through hugging for like
Yeah.
30 seconds to a minute or like kissing for 30 seconds. Like apparently I'm gonna totally misquote it, but it's like same level of oxytocin you get after an orgasm or something. Like it really can have that effect. Talk about that's a very different level of intimacy than sex or like, and it's just anything under the sexual umbrella, you know?
Well, and it's, like, low stakes, like, one thing that I have talked about in my relationship in general is, like, listen, if I don't feel connected to you in the ways that, like, I need to, like, if I feel like we're ships passing in the night at home, which, sometimes happen, if I feel like we're not, like, having real conversations, like, and it's like something as little as like sitting down across from somebody and having a meal that's like uninterrupted, where like the TV's not on, you don't have the distraction of your phone. Like
Yeah.
it's like those like lower stakes, I think like acts of intimacy really do add up. And they really do, I think, like for me, they make me want to do more of that physical, even if I'm not
Mhm.
necessarily like in the mood.
Yeah, I feel where my head goes when you say that is like you almost want to enter into like a little bit of a bubble. Like you almost want to live in something that's like separated from your reality so that you can be sort of present
Yes.
with your partner. Like even if it means, hey, we're gonna have like a no phones date because I just like I want to be here with you. And if I can be here with you and I can make eye contact with you and I can have conversation with you and I'm not distracted by anything in the outside world, I'm probably gonna like get horny, you know? Like maybe
Right.
not for everyone, but you're eliminating sort of like the distractions and you just want to enter. That's why like I think maybe like sexual fantasy is so fun because it lets you sort of like push out the outside world and be present. And I think that's also can also not even like to go as deep as like sexual fantasy or kinks, but even like romance. Like I'm not saying romance is dead, but I think it's very difficult to achieve, like, the kind of romance that, like, we all, like, fantasize about in our heads, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we have a lot
Oh
of
my God.
rom-coms have probably fucked us up, like, I'm the first one to admit, like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm royally fucked because of rom-coms," but, like, I think we could all use a little cheesiness in our life, like, I think we could all use, like, a little, like, "Hey, like, suck take me into this world, like, suck me into this world so that, like, I'm not I don't care about what's really happening in the world, I just wanna be here with you," and, like, a way to do that is to do, like, romantic things or create, like, a romantic setting.
What is maybe something you've like read or consumed that you've been like, oh my God, this is what I would love to like to happen to me or like to be in my situation. So I'll start so you can think. So that way
Yeah.
so I didn't like completely catch you off guard. But a lot of, when I'm reading, romance, smut, rom-com, call it what you will, even like when I'm watching um that kind of TV or shows or movies, I love being like chosen. Like I love
Oh, you were gonna say
when
choked.
you know what?
I was like,
This is
"Choked."
You know
We're
what?
not
For
there
another
yet.
episode, for
Got
another
it.
episode. But, like,
Got it.
I love the idea and the concept of just being like, "You are mine, you are number 1, nobody is going to get in the way of that." So here are some examples. Fitz and Olivia. Now we obviously know that's on Scandal. Fitz is the president, Olivia is the fixer. Like, and obviously Fitz is married to Melly, so, like, let's forget that for a second. But the way he, like, chooses her when he chooses her, I love. There's a book series that I'm rereading for the millionth time because it's my comfort book series. It's the Crossfire series. It's by Sylvia Day, and it's billionaire and his love conquest, and he is this powerful man, but the way that he like shows up for her and will just like do anything at all costs to like protect her. And here's
Hmm.
another thing, the way that he is so vulnerable with her in ways that he isn't with other people, like that is like I love that. I can take that all day long.
So Beauty and the Beast, like, really hit you hard as a kid, huh?
Do you know what's uh,
I could
you
tell.
know what's so funny? Like 100%. I mean, minus the Stockholm syndrome of it
Sure.
all.
Sure.
And I also did wind up with like a burly, hairy man.
Yeah. Yeah. The irony's not lost on me. She loves to read. Yeah,
So what's
that
yours?
tracks. Okay, my mind, went to it's so on brand for me, it's disgusting. Like, if someone basically, like, whisked me away, "Be ready at blah, 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 we're going somewhere warm, pack a bathing suit, like, we're going on a trip," or, "I've booked us a helicopter ride," or all of these things are very bougie, but, like, there's something about what the essence of it is that it's someone the essence is someone taking control and taking care of me. And the reason that I say it's so on brand is because my love language is acts of service. I feel the most loved
Oh.
when someone is like, has taken care of me and has given forethought to what might be helpful to me in the future. Now, that's not a direct one to one with this little fantasy I've got going on in my head, but the point is, I'm always the planner. I'm always the person who's like booking the things, making sure the pack list is all set, making sure the dogs are boarded, making sure X is taken care of, Y is done to prep for this like vacation we're going on or this date night we have, or I'm coming up with like these ideas. And I think that for someone to just like pluck that away from me and be like, I've taken care of everything. I just need you to show up. I'm gonna give you some time so you can get glam because I know you want that. Like that, like would make me feel so taken care of because it's that forethought and it's that I've figured out all the details. There's nothing left for you to do because that I think really it makes me feel loved and it really allows me to kind of what we said before, like be present, unwind, and really like let go and let go of distraction. So that I think would be great.
I love that, and also, like, knowing what I know about you, I feel like because you are so much of, like, the planner and you run your ship. Like, instead of you showing up to a vacation, as an example, where you've planned everything, you've done the whole itinerary, like, you just
Mhm.
get to show up and enjoy, and, like, and I know you said this, but, like, and be taken care of.
Mhm. Yeah, that's all a bitch wants, you know?
That makes that makes so much sense for you. So one more question I have for you that's, like, on the same lines, but not so fantastical.
Mhm.
What is something that you and G do in your, like, everyday relationship that you would say is kind of, like, got that, like, cutesy element of cheese that we're all, like, looking for sometimes?
Yeah, 2 things come to mind. This man's head's gonna get way too big with the amount of compliments he's getting from me on this podcast lately.
G, we're
Um,
gonna have to keep you humble in some way. We'll figure it out.
yeah, I guess I do enough of that day to day, like, the least I could do is, like, be truthful about his great stuff on here. Anyway, um, something, like, really, like, silly and cutesy is, like and I think I even said this in my vows, like, whenever, like, we're across the room from one another, or even if I'm just, like, walking by his office door, he always, like, looks at me and, like, makes a little, like, kissy motion, oh, like,
Oh!
whether we're in, like, a room with a lot of people, if we catch eyes, or, yeah, if we're, like or if I'm on the phone and he's, like, walking by, like, I don't know, it's just, like, a really cute thing that he does, and I've kind of
I think
adopted
that's
it.
cute.
And then similarly, like, he's really good at, like, calming me, but even when I'm not, like, in a tizzy, like, we do this, like, he'll just be like, "Come on, come on," and he, like, gives me, like, a hug, and we, like, hug for, like, an extended period of time. I don't know, it's just really helpful to, like, level my equilibrium, but I don't know, I think it's, like, a cheesy, cutesy thing that
I think that's sweet.
I thought about it because it's not something that's, like, grandiose and, like,
Right. It's a little
time
everyday thing.
consuming. Yeah, it's a little thing that, like, even when we're, like, mad at each other or having bad days, it's like, "Okay, like, we're still us, we're still here, we're good." What about you guys?
And I think that's really important, just, like, like, to have that kind of, like, that little, like, touch point. Like,
Mhm.
I do think that's really special.
So what's something that you think of?
I don't know if this is really corny, but Biggie and I will hold hands a lot in our sleep.
Oh.
And for me, so I get when I feel anxious, I feel it at night. Like, I will, like, feel it at night, like, in bed. So it's
Mm,
like this little reminder that, like, he's still here.
that's really sweet.
I'm also not always a big cuddler. Like, I get really hot when I sleep. So
Mm,
it's like a nice way of being like, okay, we're here, but we're not, like, all up in each other's business. I honestly think that non-sexual physical touch doesn't get the hype that that it should. Like you were saying, like, hugging, being side by side, like, just, there's something
well,
about
because
the, like,
listen, if you're not doing that, you're not closer to having sex. It's like if you're never touching, the likelihood of you never touching and then all of a sudden fucking is not likely. So if sex, oral, anal, penetrable, like if that is the goal and that's what you're going for, it's going to be really hard to get there if y'all never connect physically in other ways, you know? Like it's just not going to happen. So like best of luck out there.
I love that I said it like it was such, like, like a phenomena, and it's like, yeah, no shit, like, if you're not doing the bare bones, then what else are you doing? And I know I already said this, but I do think physical intimacy can fade, like sex and a lot of sexual touch, so I just think it's really important to have, like, a strong foundation in the other areas too.
Yeah.
Like, I think about, like, old people who are in relationships that are maybe not with the first people that they married, right? Like, they're widows, they've
Yeah.
lost a partner, maybe they're in a nursing home, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure at, like, 90 years old with your 4 hip replacements, you're not, like, banging it out. If you are, more power to you.
I think nursing homes is a bad example because nursing homes have some of the highest rates of STDs because they be fucking. However, However, I think you're onto something with, like, the elderly. Like, at some point, like, even if you are together and you're not separated physically, like, your parts might not work the way that they used to, in which case
Right.
all you have is those, those little touches, those sweet moments. It's like you gotta have that. You gotta have that kind of foundation. Otherwise, fuck. And you know what? I think that also points to sexual intimacy really can't be the only intimacy that you're engaging in with your partner because that is fickle. Like, physically,
Yes.
sometimes things don't work like they used to, or, hormonally things change or circumstances change. And if you can't connect that way, and it's the only way you've ever connected, yikes. Like, if that's the thing that brings you together and it's the only thing you had, you know, I think the argument could be made that those other versions of intimacy might be just as important, if not more.
Viola Davis has this quote that I'm going to absolutely butcher, but it's like, you know, when you're choosing your partner, like think about when you're sitting down at a dinner table, like you're going to have dinner with this person for the rest of your life. Like every night is going to look like this. Like when
Mhm.
shit hits the fan, when life happens, like your partner is going to see you through like the death of your parents. Like you hope, like if time works the way you want it to, it's like, yeah, that's so much more than just the physical intimacy. You think that's emotional intimacy? I feel like
For
that's emotional
sure.
intimacy.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
Do you and G future plan together and, like, find that, like, to be, like, a way that you connect? And sorry, let me back this up. When I say future plan, I'm not talking like,
Yeah.
"In 3 weeks, like, we're gonna do this thing." I'm like, "Do you guys like to talk about, like, what you want your life to be?" So, like, here's an
Yeah.
example. Biggie and I talk about, like, I call it our shared dream, where we move to Amsterdam. We're gonna open a coffee shop. Well, it's a
Oh,
dream. We're gonna
no,
open a
this is a
coffee shop.
good that was a good moan, not a bad moan. That's like oh, I
Oh,
love
okay.
this.
Yeah. So we talk about, moving to Amsterdam, opening a coffee shop where, if you're familiar with Amsterdam, you smoke weed in the coffee shops. And you have that, and then on the walls, since I like to take a lot of pictures, like, I'm like, I have an actual camera, I, like then, like, do, like, a little amateur photography, like, where the place is, like, decked out in photos that I've taken, but it's just, like, our place,
Yeah. That's
and that is
lovely.
something that, like, it's so funny because I realized that a lot of times when I was talking to him about our future, I was talking about it maybe in a way that he didn't always feel like he was being brought in. Like, I was like, "I
Mm.
want this for us," or like, "I want us to do this," like, "I see us doing this." So, like, this became the thing that we talked
Now
about
you've
where we,
got
like,
the shared
both
dream. That's beautiful.
now, I don't know if we ever will move to Amsterdam.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, I bet it's, like, partially fantastical, but partially, like, yeah, maybe. Why not? Why the fuck not? And if it's not that exactly, it's what you're kinda going for. Like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe it isn't a coffee shop in Amsterdam with the pictures on the wall. Like, maybe it doesn't get that specific, but maybe the coffee shop part becomes real, or maybe the moving out of the country and, like, experiencing, like, a different pace of life, it becomes the real part. But, I mean, listen, you not to, like, be the type of bitch that I am, but, like, you have to have a North Star and, like, dream really big, and I think that the true manifestors of the world would say, "Oh, no, you have to have it, and you have to, like, tell yourself that that's gonna be reality." For me, it's more like, have the big, bad, hairy, audacious goal, and then see how far you can get up there. Like, just see. Like, put a fantasy out there, and maybe it'll become reality. Yeah, I mean, we talk about that sort of. Like, we're not, I think, maybe as intentional, but, like, we have definitely talked about, like, having like a dog sanctuary one day and like just being surrounded by like dogs and helping dogs. And I mean, selfishly, just like being around dogs. Like, it's like a silly thing, but it's a commonality between us is our love of dogs. And so we just feel like, when all of this corporate 9 to 5 bullshit is said and done, like, where do we want to be? What do we want to be doing with our time? And then, we fantasize a lot about like, places we want to go, like experiences we want to have together, where we want to get like financially and in our careers in order to make those things happen. Doesn't always come down to money, but like that happens a lot of like, if we can get here, like we can do this thing that we really want to do. So we're always kind of
Yeah.
like up leveling, like, hey, what's the next best thing? Oh, you got a promotion. Great. What's next? Like, what's the next goal?
You know what I think is also special about you two, at least in my experience with my friends in relationships, like the two of you have moved to places where like you don't have like a built-in base. And I
Yeah.
feel like that has probably like I feel like you guys probably have bonded over that in a way that, you know, other people haven't. Like, I mean, listen, I went to school here in Boston. Like, I met Big E in Boston. So it's like, yeah, I
Right.
have my life here with him that I've built, but like I also have like all these other like little parts of it that I established on my own without him.
Mhm.
And I feel like because you guys have moved different places together, like, I know they always say like be friends with the person that you're with, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
like have you guys have really like done things where you're doing more of those like friend activities.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think I was always like, and honestly still am, like afraid of, like, I never want my partner to be my whole world. I don't think that that's healthy. I don't think that that's safe. I don't think that that is realistic. But I think part of that has always like been, that was always like part of my thinking when it's like, okay, like, you know, we're gonna like move to a place where like neither of us know anybody. We've done that twice now. And that's
Yeah.
part of the thinking. Like, how am I going to make sure that I maintain a level of independence, knowing that I don't have any friends there? He doesn't have any friends there. I work remote. He doesn't. There's been times where he's worked remote and I haven't. Like, how are we going to maintain like separate, independent lives? I think it really helps that we really both love our independent time. So that's always like a foundational thing. But to this day, like I even had like a little like crisis, like a couple weeks crisis. That's dramatic. But like a moment, like a couple weeks ago where I was like, listen, like I'm spending a lot, like I've said it before, I'm in my stay home era, which doesn't mean my stay home with G era. It's just my stay home era.
Right.
But we're like constantly around each
To
other. And it's like,
clarify.
dude, like I need to push myself a little bit and like find out a way to make more friendships here beyond the ones that I've made just to make sure like I'm not slipping into something that's unhealthy. And I think that I bring it up because that can happen so easily when you do move a long distance with your partner
Right.
and it's just you two. Like you can easily slip into what's comfortable, and what's comfortable, staying home, going places with your partner, not going places alone, not making friends because you're like, "Oh, I have a built-in buddy." And it's like, "Yeah, he's my best friend." Like, I'm happy to say that
Yeah.
now, but he can't be my everything. He can't be my all. So you have to like look out for yourself in those kinds of like situations. And honestly, bringing it back to intimacy, I like knowing that like my partner has like a life outside of me and vice versa. Like we're dynamic, interesting people on our own, and that I think helps with like attraction. I'm going on a trip next week and I'm going to be gone for like 3 weeks. And as much as I'll miss him, it's like, yeah, but like I'm going to go out and like have experiences and do things with friends and see people, and I'm going to come back with stories and experiences and things to share. And I'm going to get some work done and I'm going to get some personal stuff done. And like, absence does, I think, make the heart grow fonder sometimes. And so it's important to have Yeah, your own stuff that you can bring to the relationship, because there are very often times where we're sitting across from a dinner table at a restaurant. I'm like, I got nothing to say to you because we've been together every
You're
day
like,
for the
I've
past
talked to
week,
you all day.
and I talk constantly, you guys. I talk constantly. Silence actually makes me very uncomfortable. I don't know why, but it really does. And so
I'm like that too, so I
I
can't
will
say
fill
anything.
every
I
void. I will
feel it.
fill every space. It doesn't matter if it's in my relationship, it's a Zoom call, it's an awkward interaction at the grocery store. Like, I will fill the space. And thus every thought, every thought in this head comes out, and he knows about it. Like, there's no allure here, but you have to manufacture that sometimes.
I'm howling. Well, on that note, you talked about dog sanctuary, so I feel like we need to transition because there is something that we need to talk
Oh.
about.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into our millennial mouthfuls. It's kind of silly, it's kind of slutty. It's just like us. This is the segment where we talk about what we love, what we hate, what we're watching, what we're doing, what happened this week, what happened last week, what are we thinking about, what's top of mind. And what's top of mind, or was this past week, was G's birthday. So I'm gonna make the connection back to dogs, but I'm gonna start off by saying buying gifts for my husband is so difficult. He's a
I
simple
agree.
man. He has his interests, but some of his interests, like, I don't really know a ton about, like trading cards and
He's a
anime,
big gamer,
and
right?
yeah, he's a big
Yeah.
nerd. I know not of what he speaks. I try, you know, a gift card from this store that he likes, but I don't know like what exactly to buy him. The point is he's very difficult to shop for. I don't know if you relate to that at all. Is gift giving difficult?
Yeah, I have a hard time gift giving in general. Like when I was
Okay.
a child, my mom would tell me that I would just buy gifts for myself and give them to other people.
Sure.
So so if you have the same aesthetic and likes as me, like you're golden. Like you are so good. But aside from our wedding, because I did get Biggie like a wedding present, I can't tell you the last time I bought him an actual gift. I do more of the experiences when
Yeah,
we
that's a gift.
and when I say experiences, I'm talking like going to dinner. I'm not talking like, I should up the
Okay,
game.
okay. Well, do you think it's that, I mean, your childhood aside, do you think it's that you're not a good gift giver, or do you think that he's simply difficult to pinpoint and shop for? Like, if you knew the thing to get him, I bet you would. I don't want to project onto you, but that's what I'm
No,
dealing with.
no, I don't think I'm a good gift giver. Like, for example, it is not lost on me that my Jewish husband helps me buy Christmas gifts every year for my family because he will be like, so and so likes golf. Why don't we get them this like golf, yada yada. Like it's like
Okay.
I'm not a
He
good
makes the
giver. Like
connections.
he makes
Okay.
the good. Like he is so thoughtful. Like he makes the connections where I don't. For example, my sister loves cats, loves drinking tea. He got her for Christmas like 2 years ago a very nice cat mug with like one of those like nice, what's it, like a tea decanter or whatever it is, where you or the tea steeper. Like
Absolutely no idea.
he yeah, sorry, I'm not a tea
Okay.
drinker like that. But
Honestly, that
yeah.
that is a gift in and of itself, is him being a good gift giver, because yeah, not only is it difficult to buy him gifts, but yeah, he's not helpful to me in figuring out like what to get his mom or what to get his dad. Like, I'm like, so now I got to worry about my fucking parents and his parents. I mean, I love you if you're listening. It's not that, but it's just like, help me here with ideas.
Yeah, he's made gift giving so
Okay.
much easier for me.
I bet, I bet. But in terms of buying gifts for G, it's very difficult for all the things I said. But I love giving gifts. I love it. It's the best part. I love like waiting for the reaction and like doing something unexpected. So what I usually end up doing is experiences. His birthday was last week, and one of the things I chose to get him alongside like a gift card to his favorite trading card store was a dog psychic reading for our dogs.
So I need to know, did the dog psychic come to the house? Did the dogs have to go somewhere? Like, what was this experience like?
I am embarrassed by how much money I spent to have this man come to our house and do a reading. It would have been pricey regardless, but he was kind of out of the way. And I really wanted to be like a good experience for G. Like, I didn't want it to be like, I've sort of talked about it in the past with him. I was like, oh, would you ever do that? And he said yes. So I knew that he would be okay with it. I know because that was the one thing.
Right.
The dog psychic himself was like, you're going to get this for his birthday. Like, that could be a bad idea. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, I've already cleared it in the sense that we've talked about someday, one day. He just doesn't know, like, I'm getting it for him for his birthday. And we chose to schedule it 2 days after his actual birthday. So when I told him on his birthday, he had the right of refusal. He could have been like, I'm not into that. Let's not do that. And I would have gotten my deposit back. No harm, no foul. But G is also someone who, unless he really has to, doesn't love to leave the house. So I was like, all right, we're going to make this like an all in experience. We're going to have the guy come to us, which is just part of his offering. But yeah, I spent an exorbitant amount of money on this thing, but he came to the house. Listen, guys, I'm going to be totally fucking honest. Now that I've had a few days to sit on it, like I might have been scammed. And I might have discovered, that I am a gullible person because
Okay. So what happened?
So I guess I'll just give you some highlights because he was here for an hour. We talked for a long time. And I have 2 dogs. There was a lot to
Okay.
go through. Apparently, they're very chatty Cathys, according to this man.
Like their
He was
mother.
super sweet, amen. He was super sweet, super kind, came in, got right on the floor, like was playing with the dogs, hugging, kissing them, getting to know them, and sort of like sharing things like as they were coming up. So the way that it works, according to him, is that the dogs like just speak. They're just saying things. And he can also transmit messages back. And not only does he hear them, but they show him like images. So like they'll show him images of a memory or something like that. And that is sort of his way of like calling back to something that like only the dogs would know. However, he didn't really get into like crazy detail on anything. But here's why I think I'm gullible. We've already established I'm a talker. I knew from the jump G wasn't gonna like come in hot with like questions. Like, but I was. That's just who we are as a couple and how
Yeah.
we interact with people. He's quieter, I'm louder. Whoa, big surprise. But I made an active decision to not talk too much at the beginning because I sort of wanted this person to prove themselves, you know? Like, hey, tell me
Yep.
what they're saying. Like, hit me with something that only they, as our dogs, would know, or that anyone close to us would know, because I've never met this person. He said a lot of like generic things, Oh,
Like give me an
this
example. Like I
one,
like to go outside.
this one. So one example was like, oh, like this one. He was saying Triss like really wants to go back. She's showing me like a river or a stream, and she really wants to go back to it. She said she really loved being there and wants to go back. And this is why I'm gullible, because my mind immediately goes to this creek that we haven't been to in like over a year, but we used to go to all the time. And it's the first, oh, Jesus, that was her. Oh, that's not a message. I don't know what is.
Trish is like, take me to the creek.
It's like, take me to the creek, you lazy fucking bitch. So he says this, and I'm thinking, oh, we haven't been there in over a year, but that's like the first place that Triss ever swam. And I've been wanting to take her back. So I don't say that, but my mind immediately goes to that. So that's the first instance where I think I'm gullible. Like I'm basically making the connection for him versus him being super specific. But I didn't say anything. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, that could be arranged, yada, yada. But I wasn't like, whoa, how'd you know that? And then he said something about how like they're both very in touch with like how we're feeling.
That's
He
just
was like,
dogs
for
in general.
instance, like when you're like suffering from a headache or something, like they can really sort of like feel your pain. And I had a headache all that day. And I didn't say anything again. But then at the end, he said something again. He was like, yeah, like, they really want you to like feel less stressed and settle because of that headache you have. Like he said something like that. And I was like, I have had a headache all day. I thought like I was playing it cool this whole time, and like I let him have a few things at the end because I was like, oh yeah, like I have had a headache all day. Like, and I wanted it so badly to be like real and true. And maybe it was, but there was also like I don't know if I've said this on here, but Triss has been like kind of sick. She's okay, but we also like found out she had a fractured tooth. So last week she had to go get surgery and get it extracted. And then when they were in the surgery, they found another tooth that needed to be extracted. It was a whole thing. She was under anesthesia. Don't love that. But this reading was the night before her surgery. And he didn't say anything about her, like her physical condition. And then I asked, how is she feeling physically? I didn't. And she had a double ear infection, the fractured tooth. She had some gastro issues. So I just asked, how is she feeling physically? And he says, well, she's got the ear issue and she's got the tummy issue. He said it. And he was like, but it sounds like
Yeah.
it's being taken care of. He said that. So I was like, oh, okay, like that's pretty legit. But he didn't say anything about the tooth. I brought it up later. And he was like, oh, yeah, she's so glad that like you're taking care of that. And I said, is she aware that she has surgery tomorrow? And he was like, no, she's aware. She knows that like she's going in tomorrow and like it's going to feel better. But again, like he gave me a little something and then I gave him something and then he reinforced it. And so I go through this whole thing. And when we're done, he leaves. G and I are like, doing a little bit of a debrief. And G says to me, like, no, he's like, listen, I thought it was really fun. I'm just so happy that like he loved the dogs and they loved him. And they did. Like, he definitely is someone who energetically, I think animals are drawn to. Like, it was a beautiful thing to watch. He was like,
Yeah.
but like, I think that like you give your face and you give away more than you think you do. And I think he was picking up on your cues. And I was like, oh. Like, I thought I was playing it so fucking cool. And G was like, no, like, you give away more. So now I don't know if it was legit or not.
I feel like when you started talking about the creek, I was like, oh my God, no, this guy is legit because Cookie doesn't swim. Cookie does not like we live by the beach and Cookie will like lay down and splish splash, but he's not swimming. So like in
Yeah.
my mind, I'm like, oh my God, like to because my dog doesn't like to swim, to me, I'm like, okay, that's not like a generic
Yeah.
thing.
But also, like, it's more than that. It's also context clues. I have lab mixes. Lab mixes are like bigger, energetic dogs that need a lot of exercise. I live in Austin. There's a lot of like dog-friendly parks and like swimming holes here. Like, it's like the context clues. That's why I'm saying I'm confused because it could have just been I think some people are just good at reading people and good at energy. And maybe he's one of those people.
Yeah.
I also believe that he probably has a gift, but I don't know if his gift is like on command. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like even though we talked for an hour, like again, I was filling silence. Like I was making the
Right.
conversation continue. So I don't
You
know.
wanted
I'm
him to
having
come in
doubts.
and like tell you about their past lives. You wanted him to come in and like tell you what keeps them up at night. Like,
Or I wanted him to pinpoint something that I did that morning that no one would have known about so that I could be like, oh shit, like they told him that. There's no way anyone, like I wanted like a linchpin of some sort to really like pinpoint it for me that
yeah.
that it was legit. And I thought it was, but the more time has gone by, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Hey, I think it's really cool.
An experience is an experience, and it was fun and it was funny. And
And did
that's that.
the birthday boy, did he have a good time?
He enjoyed it. I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie and be like, he was like, oh my God, that was the best thing since sliced bread. It's like I said, he was like, hey, that was really cool. And like, if the dogs are happy, I'm happy. And they were enjoying playing with him. And he seemed like a really nice guy. And you had fun. Like, but no, I don't think that Jordan was like, oh my God, best fucking gift ever. Like, he's just not like that. And that's okay. I think to close it out, we need to touch on what is most top of mind in the reality TV world right now. And when you all hear this, you're going to be a week out from the news that dropped. But I think it's very funny that we just, I don't want to say celebrated, but acknowledged the 3-year anniversary of Scandival. And now something else has come about that some are saying is on par with Scandival. I'm going to let you introduce it though, Alexis.
So if you've been living under a rock or you're not a Bravo person, it has come out that Amanda Batula and West Wilson from Summer House have had some kind of relationship. So, why, you ask, is this a big deal? Well, if you are watching the current season, season 10, you know that West and Sierra, Amanda's BFF on the show, have had a, I'll call it like on again, off again kind of, relationship. They were never officially together, but it has been very apparent that the two of them have really liked each other. There definitely was some hooking up there. If you're a fan of the show, you probably are rooting for them this season. And then a few days ago, speculation comes out that Amanda and West have been canoodling. There were rumors that they were seen out together kissing at a bar in LA. There's been a rumor that somebody took a photo from Amanda's apartment of West and Amanda kissing. Then all the Summer House cast starts kind of posting these funny photos, kind of playing into it. So KJ, who's new on the cast, he posts a picture of his head just down. Lindsay posts a picture of like her like confused, activated face. Carl posts a picture of him looking confused. So now everyone's like, okay, this has got to be confirmation that this is true. Kyle posted a picture of him and Sierra. The amount of Bravo celebrities that have come out in support of Sierra, I'm like, yes, she deserves all of the love and support right now. But I am just like, how in this year, 2026, are we in this situation?
Who knows what is going to evolve in this next week?
Who knows?
But I am in utter disbelief. Before 3-4 hours ago, I was like, this is like the stupidest fucking rumor. And the reason they're all posting pictures is because they're all playing into it and they're being silly because this is a ridiculous rumor. This couldn't possibly be true. But what happened today specifically is that both Amanda Batula and West Wilson put a joint post on their Instagram stories, basically saying, without saying, that the rumors are true and they've been trying to figure out how to deal with it delicately. Now, if you don't watch Summer House and you've listened to this podcast and you're thinking to yourself, wait, Alexis and Ashlie, didn't you guys just talk a few months ago about Amanda Batula and Kyle Cook's joint post announcing their divorce? You would be correct. We did, because it was only a few months ago. Granted, they've probably been separated for a while. No judgment there. But yeah, don't you think that that's weird, Alexis, that Amanda and Kyle did a joint post as a couple saying, hey, we're getting divorced. And then just a few months later, West Wilson and Amanda, who, yes, have always been friends and friendly, are now like doing a joint post to acknowledge that like they've basically been dating and it was like unexpected. Something is fishy here. And I'm going to go ahead and just say that I hope it's what I'm about to say. And I can't take credit for this. My friend, who I will not dox her name, but we were texting about this earlier because we were all like, how are we supposed to go back to work? Like, we need to sit down and like really hash this out and acknowledge this. She said, do you guys think this is an April Fool's joke?
Oh, that I think is so out the window. There's been so much online of people.
But there's something about the comedy of doing a joint post with this person who yes, he's a friend, but you're dating. Like, it's weird that they came out with a mutual statement together. It's weird that all the castmates are like posting pictures and doing like very like immature, weird, jokey type of social media responses. It's weird that it's on social media at all. There's a post out there someone took of Sierra like sitting on a sidewalk, like looking like she's crying and looking sad, and some guy comforting her. I'm like, that could have been taken like any time ever. Like, there's just a lot of weird things happening. So that's lane number one. That's like, something's fishy here. This is weird.
I don't think that's an April Fool's joke, because these are grown ass adults, and this would be like the dumbest April Fool's joke, because like you're talking about people's reputation now. Like, people's reputations have been completely slashed.
So lane number two is, this is real. What in the diabolical fuck is going on? Amanda Batula, I'm in love with, always have been. I love her style. I love her personality. Do I totally agree the way that she has not stood up for herself in what I think is her very toxic relationship with Kyle? No, but I think that she is the most normal out of all of them. I think she's hilarious, and I think she's very sweet and kind, and I think that her friendships mean everything to her. So, if this is true, and I guess it is, I I'm in utter I know I understand what the people are telling me that it's true, but I am in disbelief. I don't we're not guys, we're not even talking about Ariana Raquel level of friendship. Like, yes, like they called themselves best friends, but they had really only been like good friends for like a couple years leading up to Scandival. Sierra and Amanda are like bosom buddies to the max.
I think the thing that sits with me is that there are two things. And I'm not going to sit here and just blame Amanda because there are, there's, West is involved too. And part of me is like, did West kind of take advantage of somebody in a vulnerable moment? Like it's very clear that she's at a low. What I was going to say earlier is if I liked somebody so much, if I had had prior relations with somebody and the person is my friend that I'm going to talk about how much I like this person, how much that person
Yeah.
hurt me. And then for you in any world to feel like you could be attracted to that person or be slightly interested in that person, like that hurts. Then to one up it, it looks like, or what it's looking like based on like all of the information online, which, okay, take that with a grain of salt. Like this is how Sierra found out. So if you remember on the show, Jesse Solomon asks West, can I kiss Sierra? Like, would that be okay? And I'm like, well, at least Jesse asked the friend who had a a type of relationship with her. And listen, I have to say,
But it's
well,
not
I'm
the
married,
same
so I
thing.
should never be in this situation. But it's like, again, and this is the same thing I said for Scandival, like they better come out and be like, we are in love. Like this better be something that
It
like,
would be ridiculous. How? Less than 10 months ago, they were at the summer house and West was saying how he's still in love with Sierra.
I know.
That was within this calendar year.
No, I'm saying like not right now come out and say that. I'm saying that like I think the only way they redeem themselves is if they wind up like America forgives a love story, but I don't know. This hits like it it just it hits too many it's like it's not Scandival because it's not the
Yeah.
same, but it's just like Amanda was having her Ariana Madix moment. She was on the come up and
I
this will
know.
knock her back down. Now, I do feel like I have to say this because I've been saying it. I've been saying it to everybody. As somebody who struggles with their mental health, and I know that both Amanda and Sierra struggle with their mental health as well because they've talked about it. I do hope that they are surrounded by people that love them. I do
Mhm.
hope that they are not looking at the internet because like the way that everybody is coming for all of them, like yes, Sierra is getting a ton of support, but still like to have this whole thing played out in the public eye. And one thing that I can't help but keep thinking about is in the episode that came out where KJ, Sierra, and Mia are kind of talking about the pressures that they have felt being Black people on a all white cast essentially, and how Sierra was talking about how so many people came for her for being like basically dating white men and then being like made a fool of. Like, I'm just hoping all of those people just like leave her alone and just like
Yeah.
let her go through this because I'm like on the heels of that conversation to just like overcomplicate it even more about the way that she must be feeling.
I'm actually rewatching Summer House right now after my Vanderpump rewatch. I moved on to Summer House because to me it's like a feel good show, at least up
Yeah, I
until,
rewatch it all the time. I love it.
I knew it in the moment, but it's really dawning on me like how many like shitty situations Sierra has been put in with men. There was that whole Austin thing
And
and like Lindsay like almost like trying to get in on it. There was the whole West thing, even the Jesse thing. That conversation she had with Jesse this season about feeling like she didn't use this word, but like feeling like she's something like a conquest. Like it's almost like
Yeah.
she's like, oh, everyone has to tick the Sierra box, but no one actually wants to get serious with Sierra. Like I felt for her so hard. And I think that that's why this is so bad.
Yeah, and even more so when you think about the racial element. Like, you can't sit
100%.
here and, like, not factor that in, you know?
Yep.
And it's like,
100%.
that is totally a thing. Like, you know, where it's like, especially like I have friends that have been like, yeah, like Black friends that have been like, yeah, I'm good enough to date, I'm good enough to fuck, but what, I'm not good enough to like take home to mom.
Right. Right. It's like she feels like she's not being chosen because she's Black, and she is like constantly feeling othered and has every right to, because it's actually like, again, not to overuse the word, but it is diabolical. Like the amount of like schlubby random loser men that have passed her up.
Crazy.
I
And
will give it
she
I will
is
give it to Carl. Carl
amazing.
keeps trying. Carl does keep trying, because I think Carl sees how fucking amazing she is, and she's sort of like, I'm not really into it. I forgot that they had like made out at one point in the earlier shows, like during a party or something, and like they were kind
Yeah.
of feeling each other. But then I think like they sort of like were ships in the night. So like he sees it just like we all do, but it's literally ludicrous the amount of loser uglier men have passed her up. And it like and that, honestly, I think all of that is why this feels so bad, because it's not Lindsay, it's not Amanda who this is happening to, it's not Paige, it's Sierra. She is like the golden beacon, I feel like, in this crew.
Speaking of Paige, is she going to be in between two friends again?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Right, because Paige and Amanda are besties, but so are Paige and Sierra.
Yo, Paige cannot catch a fucking break when it comes to the friend pulley. This is why I'm like, this is so layered, Alexis. Like, there's no way this isn't a misunderstanding or a joke.
No, it is not that. Like, when people are saying it's a joke, I'm like maybe the first headline, but I'm like, this has been insanity. Also, she just came out with a statement with her husband
That's what I'm
or
saying.
ex-husband
That's
or
ridiculous. You
whatever.
just came
So,
out with a
like, it's
joint
like,
post statement with your ex-husband 3 months ago. Now you're doing a joint, not to mention aesthetically. It's a black background with white text. It's in the same fucking font. I'm telling you. The only other angle I can think of is they truly like just had like a crush on each other, and now it's been blown up into this thing, and that's why they're saying like we had to figure out what this was before anyone else does. My other theory is that they've talked to Sierra a long time ago about this, and Sierra's known this whole fucking time, and it wasn't a secret, it wasn't a big reveal, but maybe she's just like uncomfy with it, you know?
and again, everything is speculation, but I'm just going to say, I feel like if that was the case, Sierra would have also come out with a statement.
And said what? Hey, just so you guys know, I know and I'm cool with it? No, that'd be weird.
I mean, it's all weird. Like, it's all weird. Or just like defend her friend.
But and say what? Because I don't think that she's happy about it, but I don't think, like what would she say?
I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew. I don't know what she would say, but like, I feel like, listen, you know that they worked on these fucking statements with Bravo. So I'm sure there would have been like
Why would it
another
be with
version.
Bravo?
You think that while they're airing a TV show that they're going to let the cash just put out things willy-nilly that aren't going to affect
Their
the
lives are still their lives. This isn't, I mean, unless they're filming in the city during this,
who knows what's going on with that show.
I guess I don't see why it would matter. Their life is still their life. They can choose to put whatever they want.
It is, but it's like not the same. But it's not the same. Like, this is also, I I do have to say, Peacock put an ad out today about trying to get people to sign up for Peacock, and it was like summer house trailers, and I was like, honestly, smart advertising. Like, capitalize.
Just in case you don't know where to find it, it's over here on Peacock. We have all
Like,
seasons.
literally, I thought I laughed. I had to give whoever that was their hats off. I don't know. I don't know what she would say, but I just feel like, don't you think they would have said it? Like, we've talked with all parties.
Well, no, because just because they told her doesn't mean she's comfortable with it. And if she's not comfortable with it, they don't have the right to like mention her name or like bring her up. Like It's
No, I don't think
probably not
mention her
comfy.
name, but I don't know. Also, let us not forget that Kyle's gonna get off now. Kyle doesn't people are gonna be like, Kyle doesn't
I
look so
know.
people are like,
I
Kyle
saw
doesn't look
someone
so bad
posting
anymore.
today, so you know what's hilarious about all these rumors? This is before it was confirmed today, but what's hilarious about all these rumors is that no one gives a fuck about Kyle's opinion about any of this. Because theoretically, Kyle and Wes were friends, are friends. He might feel
Right.
some type of way. No one gives a fuck about how Kyle feels. I'll leave it at this. No one's gonna believe me because I'm saying it after the fact, but I'm convinced I'm a white witch, and this is part of it. I have seen Amanda Petula and Wes Wilson in the background of Carly Shapiro's and Lamb Chop's
Yes. Yeah.
posts. They're a little
Mhm.
girl gang group, and it kind of warmed my heart, but I remember seeing things and something in me going that's kind of weird. I didn't know Amanda and
100%.
West were friends like that. I know they're friendly in the summer house, but I didn't know they were friends like that. And I wonder how Sierra
Yeah.
would feel about them hanging out as friends. So there was a little twinge of something in me that was oh, something about that doesn't feel quite right, especially because Carly and Tess are a couple.
Right.
So I don't know, something about it didn't sit right with me, but whatever. I'm saying it after the fact, so call me a liar. I don't care, but I definitely thought there was something a little rancid about that.
So anyway, I guess we are going to stay tuned at this unfolding mess of a situation. On that note, if you want more of our daily chaos, hot takes, and semi-responsible wisdom, follow us on social. The Millennial Matriarch Pod is on Instagram as at the Millennial Matriarch Pod, one word. Ashley is at Millennial Mind of Ash, and I, Alexis, am at the _millennial_matriarch on TikTok and Instagram. We are serving questionable decisions, comforting truths, and the occasional wait, am I the drama moments? Spoiler, yes, always yes. For more episodes of The Millennial Matriarch, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, and on YouTube. Please rate, review, subscribe. Until next time, drink some water, trust your gut, catch up on Summer House because what the fuck is going on? And remember, you're the matriarch of your own fucking castle. Act like it. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Bye.